Welcome back to our YouTube channel here at ArmorTech. Today we have our new ArmorTech Game Loader going on a U10 PRO CF Moto 2025. Before we get too in depth, let's have a look at that tool list. First thing we want to do is find our brackets and hardware. In that, we're going to start with bracket AR here on the passenger side of the unit, and this 3-bolt pattern will mount up to the tab that's welded on the upper part of the post here, and we will utilize 6 of our 8mm by 16mm button head screws. And you can see we got 3 here on the passenger, 3 for the driver, as well as a 5/16 flat washer to affix the bracket to the post. Our 5mm Allen wrench, and we're going to run these down to where they just barely touch. We want to leave our brackets where they have a little bit of wiggle to them, so we take all of our stress and pipe strain out, if there is any, when we mount our bar to the bracket. And we'll mount the bracket AL on the driver's side in the same manner. We have our winch laid out. I've already got our wires connected. We're going to go ahead and mount this 3,500 pound all balls winch to our universal plate that's attached to our game bar. Now, we've got a universal footprint for multiple different style winches. This fits most winches at that 3,500 and under threshold. And so we'll go ahead and mount this up. This may look a little bit different depending on what winch you decide to go with, but it's much easier mounting the winch here on the tailgate than having to mess with it once it's up in the air and mounted. So we'll just get our foot bolts started here. We'll go ahead and run those down tight. Then we'll mount our weather shield, and this bottom brake lip here will align to the back angle of our bar and fold down over the winch bracket. These slots here will line up with our front fair lead mount, and so the fair lead hardware and the fair lead will all sandwich the front of our weather guard like that. We'll through bolt all of this together at one time. Let's go ahead and show you that. Get a bolt started in our fair lead and get one of the nuts provided with our hardware from our winch provider. Now we'll tighten down the fair lead, and that's going to hold our weather guard firmly into position. Now we'll go over a little bit of our cable management. We've got some of that kind of pre-ran for you. If you'll notice on both sides of our weather guard here, we've got a little old tab that kicks out. It's got a square notch. That is just simply for a cool spot to zip tie those wires up and hide them on the back side of the bar. And we'll go ahead and zip tie those down to where they're held. And in your hardware bag, we've got 2 1/2-inch loom clamps along with 2 self-drilling screws, and we'll take those loom clamps and we'll go ahead and wrap those around the wires, pinch both clamps together, and then we're going to run our wires on the back side of the pipe here in our 5/16 driver and our impact. We'll find a good spot to drill that down and secure that to the back side of the bar. And we'll do our second one a little closer to the flange. Also in our hardware bag, we've got some 3/8 hardware, bolts, flat washers, lock washers, and nuts. We'll want to go ahead and take one flat washer and go ahead and slide that onto the bolt. And then we'll back that with a flat washer, lock washer, and then a nut. So when we affix our bar to our flanges, we've got our hardware prepped, ready to go. At this time, we'll grab a partner and throw this up on the unit. Now we've got two bolts kind of hot bolting our flange together. We'll go ahead and start putting the rest of our hardware on. Again, we're going to back these bolts with a flat washer, a lock washer, and a 3/8 nut. All right, we'll get all four bolts started loosely in both driver and passenger sides. And then we'll come back with our 9/16 tooling and tighten everything down. Now we'll grab our impact with our 9/16 socket and our 9/16 wrench, and we'll go to all the bolts on these flanges and tighten them down, both driver and passenger side. I'll take our 5mm Allen wrench and our impact driver, and now we'll tighten up our mounting bolts that we started with on our bracket. We'll do this both passenger and driver side. Now that our bar and winch is mounted onto the unit, we'll talk a little bit more about our cable management. We've got our exterior cable tray that can bolt into our driver or our passenger side, depending on which route you're going to take with your unit. But we've got some zip tie slots here for you. All right, and we want to take this zip tie, go in, back through those slots. All right, and we'll lay that wiring right in that tray, and we'll go ahead and zip tie this all up, and then we'll mount our tray. Okay, so we got two more of our 8mm by 16mm button head screws in our hardware bag. And so the last thing we've got here, we got our cable mounted into our cable tray, and we'll want to go ahead and place these screws into our tapped threaded holes that are in the framework here of the rear post. We'll go ahead and get those started. And we'll slide our slots in behind those screw heads. And then with our 5mm Allen key, we'll tighten that down. Our game loader is now completely installed onto the CF Moto U10 Pro, and we hope it helps you load your game on your next ride. As always, thanks for watching.